hear from some of your fellow student athletes. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to go through a few sort of informational pieces here, and then we'll shift back into that gallery view. But later on in our time together today, we will be joined by, or actually we're joined right now by Adrienne Vaughn of women's soccer, Tucker Richardson of men's basketball, and Morgan Farah of softball. So Adrienne, Tucker, and Morgan, you want to say a quick hi just so everyone can hear? We'll do this real quick so everyone can see you, who you are, where you are.
Sure thing. Hi guys, I'm Adrienne. I'm a rising junior now, which is weird to say. I'm on the soccer team. My major is molecular biology, and I'm right in Columbia, Maryland. Happy to be with you guys today. I hope you guys enjoy.
Thanks, Adrienne. Tucker?
Sure. Hello, everybody. I'm Tucker. I'm going to be a junior as well on the men's basketball team. I'm a sociology major at Colgate, and yeah, I'm really excited to be here with you guys and kind of give you some advice from someone that's already been through what you guys are about to go through.
Thanks, Tucker. Morgan?
Hey, everybody. My name is Morgan Farah. I am also a rising junior. Super weird to say. I am kind of an infielder catcher on the softball team. My major is computer science, and I'm from Pittsburgh, PA. So super pumped to meet you guys.
All right. Thanks so much. Okay, here. So we're going to get back to business. I want you all to just have an opportunity to get a sense of who we are as an athletics department. You've gotten to know your coach. You've gotten to know many of your teammates, your future teammates. But we wanted you to have an opportunity to get to know me and get a sense of who some of your athletics administrators are, and also how we're working through this time, this unusual time with COVID-19. So we'll go through that stuff here pretty quickly. All right, so our vision at Colgate Athletics is to be an inclusive community of competitive excellence. And this means that we want everyone who wants to be a part of our unique vision and mission to be welcome, to be invited, to be heard. And we believe that our decisions and our actions are better when the voices of all are fully considered and included. And we're at our best when we're acting as a community. This community of Colgate and Hamilton is a really special place, as you've already started to get to recognize. And we're really good when we're being a good community with each other. And then competitive excellence, we've defined that is getting a little better every day and being unashamed and unashamed at all to totally go for the win. We want to be about winning. We want to be about going for championships. And we also recognize that getting a little better every day is really how you get there. Focusing on the win doesn't do it, but getting better every day individually and as a group gets us there together. We have what we call our 5 virtues, and these are sort of values that we live every day, and we're at our best when we are these things. And I think you'll start to experience people here according to these. So we are thoughtful, driven, enthusiastic, cohesive, and bold. And you'll hear more about those as you come to Colgate and we talk about them and start to live them every day. I want to share with you a little bit about just the success of this last year and what you're about to step into. In spite of having a shortened year, we had a really great year. And at Colgate, as you know, it is about being scholars and athletes, and having the unique opportunity to pursue both with at the highest levels. And so we are very proud of our 97% graduation success rate. It's one of the best in the country. We had 43 student athletes earn perfect 4.0 GPAs last year. 505 of our 560 or so student athletes were on the Rader Academic Honor Roll last year, which is, I believe, about a 3.25 GPA. Our Convocation Awards are really special awards that many are available to all students on campus, and 31 student athletes earned 39 awards this year, so very proud of them. We also were recently recognized as being number 2 in the nation among Division I institutions for academic progress rate, which is a measure that measures retention and eligibility. That generally means for you that the student athletes, most of the student athletes that you come in with, you're going to see them year in and year out. This is your class. This is your cohort. They're going to stick around. You're going to graduate together. And so that's really important to us. On the in the courts and in the competitive arena, we also had a really great year. We had so many of, as you can see, so many of our teams participated in postseason last year. We had 2 coaches of the year. We had a player of the year, a defensive player of the year. One of our men's ice hockey players was recognized in men's ice hockey. And then 2 of our teams, volleyball and men's basketball, won their regular seasons. So we had a great year competitively last year. And of course, we're looking to always get better. And I also wanted to just share this screen. It's, some of our guys, our men's ice hockey guys, we have not given up at all on pursuing excellence in spite of COVID-19 in the environments where we are. This is a particular picture of or image of our men's ice hockey team meeting with one of their alumni who's an inventor and just sharing some of his advice and experience. And we've gone hard after that in these days when we've been separated and not been able to compete and practice together, but can develop in other ways. So we expect you, we set it up so that you will have opportunity to be really successful, again, in the classroom, on the court, in the community, and in your life. I wanted to share your athletics administration team just so that you can start to get a sense of who some of the leaders are in our department. These are folks who, particularly those most of these folks have sport administration responsibilities. And what that means is that they are an athletics administrator who is available to you during your experience here to share advice, to look after your experience. They are working with your coaches day in and day out to advocate for resources, to help arrange experiences, to make adjustments in how things are being done, and just really good people. And I'm excited for you to get to meet these people in person. I want to share just a little bit about how we're talking about and thinking about planning for the fall and how that process is going. So these are the guiding principles that have really been key to our conversations, both on campus, at the league level, even at the national level. And so first and foremost, health and safety is our priority. We want to make sure that everyone who comes onto our campus is going to be safe and has an opportunity to stay healthy. We also are participating in governance across the board. Any opportunity we have to participate in the decision-making process and conversations on campus, again, or at the league or national level, we are doing that and participating in an informed and vigorous way to advocate for athletics and for Colgate. Also, alignment with campus is huge. Colgate we are one of the hallmarks for us is that athletics is supportive of the academic mission. And so we will be in alignment and both philosophically, but also from a timing perspective. You've heard from President Casey that by June 30th, we will have some more of an announcement about how we anticipate the fall looking. And athletics will follow that announcement. So you can expect that from us. Scholar athlete experience, we are working hard to preserve whatever kind of scholar athlete experience we can. What that means is that we are doing a ton of scenario planning. And so our hope is that whenever we do have a decision that also is influenced, of course, by national, state, and regional health guidance, that we will have an option that preserves the scholar athlete experience. It gives you an opportunity to compete and practice. So that's something we're working hard on. We also are prioritizing league competition when that comes about. We're working hard with our Patriot League and ECAC peers. Fiscal responsibility is huge. We've got to do that. We have to have a good business model in order to continue to provide for you all the kind of experience that you expect. And then flexibility. As many of you have experienced already, you think you know something one day and then the next day something changes and you gotta adjust and move. And so we are certainly prioritizing that as well. And these, I mentioned to you that we're very well represented on campus. The point of that I would hope that you take away from that is we are so fortunate to be at an institution who embraces athletics, Division I athletics, as a really important part of the identity of the university. And so, so your athletics administrators have an opportunity to participate in governance committees, special task forces across the board. And then, like I said, we're also participating in at the league and national level. So with that, and I should have said at the beginning, but I'll say it now. As you, here I'm going to stop my share so we can see each other a little bit more. As you have questions, so I'm going to facilitate a few questions and answers with our student athlete panel now. If you have questions that have come up while I've been speaking, or as our student athletes respond to questions, please don't hesitate, and encourage you to put those into the chat. If you would rather not be identified with your question, you're welcome to address those questions directly to Juliana Smith. Juliana, do you want to say a quick hello, and so that they can see where you are?
Hello. I'll also send the message in the chat to everyone so you can see my name easily.
There you go. Thanks, Juliana. Juliana is our Deputy Athletics Director and Senior Women Administrator, and so she'll be helping to facilitate the question and answer part after we do the student athlete panel part. All right. So Adrian, Tucker, and Morgan, if you all want to prepare for action, I wanted to just sort of start with ask a little bit about what your experience at Colgate has been thus far as a student athlete. Adrian, you want to start?
Yeah, sure, I'll start. So far, it's been amazing. I've had a lot of opportunities to get involved all over campus. As of right now, I'm a part of ROC, which is the Raiders of Color Connect committee. And with that, I basically just organize events for athletes of color to get in touch with one another and build a community. I'm also a part of the career services team. So for that, I basically just do outreach and social media for career services so that people know what's going on, are in contact with employers, and et cetera. And I'm also an athlete. So I'm involved in a lot on campus, and that's really shaped my experience so far at Colgate. It made it more enjoyable, allowed me to meet different people and explore my interests. So, yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Adrian. Tucker, you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I have similar things to say. I think so far my experience has been great, especially because I guess athletically my team has been very successful. So last year the men's basketball team, we actually won a championship, and then this year we lost in the championship game of Patriot League, but we were still had a very successful year. And so I guess in that way, Colgate has been amazing for me, just because it's nice to be at a school and be a part of a team that's really good and really successful. And obviously I've been lucky enough to be a part of that. And I think moving forward, we will continue to be successful. So that's really good. And then, I mean, the thing that I think about is when I first came to Colgate, it was really, my focus was just going to be on basketball. But then I realized that opening myself up to more things across campus, socially and part of the community has been really good for me, and has made my experience even better than I could ever imagine. So it's been great so far.
Thanks, Tucker. Morgan, how about you? How's it been for you to be a student athlete at Colgate?
So I actually love being a student athlete at Colgate. I think that it's awesome. I love Colgate so much. I didn't realize I was going to love it so much. It's opened so many opportunities, right? I stepped on campus. There were 20 immediate sisters that I had with our team, and I don't think that happens everywhere. So I think that's really special. I also think the bond that I have with the other athletes, like me, Adrian, and Tucker, are friends outside of the Zoom call, right? So I think that that's really cool. And you just meet so many fun people here. I'm a part of a lot of things on campus too, because I just love Colgate. I'm actually, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on the air, so it's a secret to all you guys, but sometimes I'm the Raider, like the mascot. So that's, if that doesn't tell you how much I love Colgate.
That's no surprise.
You remember the women's volleyball game, like the one where they played American, maybe, and the lacrosse team was like doing the roller coaster? That was me. So anyways, I'm also the director of student athlete engagement for SAC. So I do that. I'm a part of Colgate Link staff. So you guys, if we do end up going back on campus in the fall, you'll be seeing a lot of me through orientation week. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's so much fun. I have so many friends. I'm actually going to visit one of them this weekend. So that's going to be great. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. You all talked a little bit about different activities and resources. Um, for everybody who's here, you may notice that there are some folks that don't look like they're incoming student athletes on this call. And in all likelihood, if all of you, everybody who's on staff at Colgate, if you would just sort of wave, so that folks can start to see some of them. So these folks are also resources. So just student athletes. And maybe Tucker, I'll start with you. What resources or groups or activities have been really important to your experience so far?
So I thought of a couple for me specifically. I don't think I'm as involved as Mo and Adrian in this regard, but I still think I do try and do things to be a part of the community. So one thing that I actually started this year that kind of helped me, get out of my comfort zone a little bit was me and my friend actually started a radio show at Colgate. And obviously it was cut short in the spring, which wasn't great, but hopefully next fall we'll be able to start it up again. So that was really fun for us. It was just, a way to get out of just athletics and do something else. And then also a big resource for me that I haven't used as much as I want to, and I hopefully will next year, is actually the Chapel House. I don't think a lot of people know about it on campus, but it's a place where they do guided meditations. There's a library there where you can go study. And it's just like a really peaceful place to get away from everything for a while. If you need to just take a break and go study somewhere, or even do like the meditation that I really want to start doing more of. So I think those two things have actually really helped me.
That's great. Yeah, it is a beautiful place. Morgan, how about you?
So I've thought a couple too. The one is, me and my teammates signed up for a radio show in the fall. So hopefully we go back because I'm pretty excited about that. The next thing is so there's Colgate Christian Athletes, which is, they kind of meet every Thursday, and there's food, and we kind of just talk about some stuff that's going on, the stressors of athletics and academics. And so that's really been helpful. Is just finding some fellow athletes to just talk about stuff, So I really like that. I also think another resource that I use so often is the Writing Center. So I don't know if you guys know about the Writing Center, but basically people sign up to be these counselors, and you sign up for an appointment, and then they'll look over papers you have, they'll talk about theses with you, they'll just help you structure your paper, and it's so helpful. Coming from someone who's not the best writer, it is literally a lifesaver. So that's probably my top 3.
That's great. Adrian, how about you? Resources, activities, or groups that have been important to you?
I would definitely say that ROCC and BSU, which is Black Student Union, have been 2 groups that I've really enjoyed being involved in. They have helped me to expand and grow my community outside of just soccer. As Mo said, like, you develop an immediate kind of friend group from your sport, which is super helpful, especially as a freshman. But then you want to kind of expand your friend group outside of soccer so that you're not just relying on that friend group. And so you meet new people. So that's been really great experience for me. And also a great resources that I've found is career services. They've been extremely helpful with helping me to figure out what I want to do, which is become a doctor, and exactly like what classes I need to take, what I should be looking to apply to in terms of grants or scholarships, and when I should be like ready to take the MCAT, how to prepare, etc. So that's been a really great experience and resource that I've found very useful as well.
That's great. I wondered if you all could sort of project yourselves or put yourself back in time to where these incoming student athletes are, and just coming out of high school, getting ready to come to Colgate. What advice or what do you wish you would have known maybe when you were in their position? Morgan, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll start. So kind of not a super deep one, right? I wish I would have known that the first 2 weeks at Colgate are so hot. Like in the past 2 years we've been there, like sweating hot. Like I never thought upstate New York could ever get that hot. So like I wish I knew to bring a fan the first week.
Important.
The other thing that I think that I wish I would have known before coming to Colgate, I wish I would have known, I guess, I don't know how to say this. Let's say that I wish I would have not been so intimidated to ask for help, right? There's so many people who are willing to help at Colgate, and I think that at first when I came in, I was so afraid to be like, I have no idea what's going on. Whereas like I knew kind of where lift was, I knew where athletics was, but when it came from an academic standpoint, like I wish I just someone would have like smacked me across the face and been like, Morgan, you don't know what you're doing all the time. Just ask for help. So I think that's probably the thing I wish I would have taken into Colgate.
Very good. Adrian?
Yeah, I would like to second what Mo said. Definitely asking for help was something that I struggled with coming into Colgate, specifically not even just from an academic standpoint or asking for help from the Writing Center, figuring out what resources I could get in touch with so that they could help me to do better on my essays, whatever. But more so just like if you're struggling mentally in terms of just transitioning from high school to college, because it is a big jump, you know, like you might be the star athlete on your team in high school, and then you're coming into a new school, a new setting where there's a bunch of other star athletes. And that transition can be kind of tough. So just make sure that you're reaching out to people because there are other people going through it with you. So you're never alone. So just really ask for help, whether that's asking help from a teammate or from a coach or even your trainer, whoever. Anyone can point you in the right direction.
Great, thanks. Tucker, how about you? Anything you wish you
Sure.
would?
Yeah, I mean, I think that to get the most out of your college experience in general, and especially at Colgate, is to try and really get involved in the community. So something that I actually did this year, and I kind of wish I had done it my freshman year as well, as I became a part of the Sidekick program at Colgate, where we team up with like a local kid at the elementary school, and like once a week or once every 2 weeks, you hang out with them. Like we've played basketball together. We've gone to Frank Dining Hall together. We've walked around Hamilton together. So we've done all these little things, and just trying to be a part of this, my friend, his name's Kevin, but be a part of his life and be someone that can be like a mentor and like a big brother to him has been really beneficial to me. So just continuing to find other ways to get involved in our community, because especially on the basketball team, I'm sure on other teams too, but one of our missions is to stay involved in the community. And so that's one way that I've been successful, and I wish I had done that even earlier on.
That's great. Thank you. So we have one more question, or one or two more questions, and just want to encourage you all to be ready and be thinking about a question that you might have. I also believe, can you all look at your participants thing, and you can raise your hand if you click on participants. So if you decide that you want to ask a question live, you can also raise your hand, and we'll come to you. Our cracked mute Senior Associate AD Laura Segreci will help us manage that. So last question for me to our panel is, if thinking about the experiences that you had, you're going into your third year, what is something hard that you've been through and have...
Could you try again?
Sorry, Siri's talking to me over here. What's something hard that you've been through, and that how has it shaped your Colgate experience?
I can start. Like I kind of touched on it a little bit, is just the transition for me was something that wasn't necessarily the best, because I had so many expectations coming into Colgate for how I was going to be able to perform and stay on the same standard, I guess I could say, as I did when I was in high school. And that just was not the reality. Naturally so, as a freshman, you're most likely not going to be the star of your team. And so that was something that was a little bit difficult for me to kind of understand and come to exception with. And so, yeah, I think that was one of the things that I struggled with the most and have fortunately gotten over. It's just more of a thing, just like you need to just reach out to people and ask for help when you need help, because you shouldn't struggle alone if that is something that you're dealing with. So just want to put that out there again.
Yeah, you all go ahead. No, I was just going to say, you've all talked a little bit about using resources and asking for help, and it occurs to me that that part of the experience at Colgate is going to be going through hard things, but that you often do come out on the other side in a little bit better way, or at least it becomes a part of your experience. So Tucker, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, so something that I was thinking about was that I think the hardest thing for me has been realizing that athletics and the games aren't the end all be all. And that can't be your only focus. So even recently when we lost the Patriot League championship, obviously I was devastated, and I think that's reasonable, but I still had to get back and focus on my schoolwork. There was other things I had to focus on, obviously, with going home and stuff. So just one game or one loss or one bad performance, it's not the end of the world, I guess. There's a lot more stuff that you have that you can rely on and fall back on and focus on. And like they're saying, other people that you can go to for help or for advice. So you can't just make athletics. Obviously athletics is a big focus for student athletes. However, it shouldn't just be your only focus. And that was obviously something that was hard for me.
Thanks, Tucker. Morgan?
Yeah, I'm kind of just going to echo what Tucker said. So basically, you practice this sport. I was a tri-sport athlete in high school. I've never really focused on softball as much as I have when I got to Colgate, right? And we have 6 months. You get here in August, and being a spring sport athlete, you don't step on the field and play league play until March, April, right? So just maintaining focus and really realizing that one bad practice should not ruin your day, right? Like if you miss 5 ground balls, which my coach is on this call, so hopefully she could probably attest to this. But basically you have to get over it. You have to have short-term memory. You have to let things go, right? Or it's going to be really, really hard to play that next day, right? My first month here, I tried to be perfect, right? And perfection was like the key. Like you want to prove yourself when you first get here. And it was really, really hard. So I just think that having short-term memory and really taking every day as a new day is probably the most important thing, just getting over that hump.
That's great. Good advice. Very good advice. All right. Do we have any questions that have come in?
We do. I'll throw a softball, no pun intended, first. Where's your favorite place to study on campus?
Favorite place to study on campus? I really liked Cut and Core. So I lived in 113 Broad last year, and it's usually where most sophomores live, I think. And there's like a little study area up top where all of the buildings meet, because there's like 4 buildings. And that was one of my favorite places to study. I also like studying in the 5th floor reading room of the library. That's probably my favorite. There's a bunch of windows, and it's really pretty when it snows.
I can go. I'm a little different on this one, actually, I think. So I can stay pretty focused when I'm in my room as long as I'm alone. I think that's a struggle for a lot of people, but actually for me, my favorite place to study is either in a common room in my dorm or even in my room. I can kind of put away distractions for an hour, hour and a half, or however long I need, and just get my work done. And then if that's not working, if there are distractions, then like Mo said, I really like going to the library. It's pretty peaceful and quiet, and you can always go get a snack if you want. So those are probably my 2 spots.
It's always good to have snacks. Adrian, how about you?
I'd say that I like Cooley the best. A lot of people don't know about Cooley, but it's actually in between, where is it in between? It's in between, man, I can't even think of where it is now.
Is it McGregory and
yes, thank you.
what's the middle one?
Yeah. Yes. It's in the basement of McGregory, and I actually didn't find out about it until this year. So yeah, there you go.
Pro tip. Awesome.
Just to throw one thing in there. Oh, sorry. I was just going to throw one thing in there. When Tucker said about getting snacks at the library has amazing turkey avocado sandwiches. I'm just going to throw it out there. Like the greatest things ever.
Another pro tip. Juliana?
When you're not at practice or in class, what do you do with your free time?
Okay, I can go. So practice or class, so I'm going to assume that means like individual workouts too. So something that I like doing, like I said, me and my friends started a radio show, and that just kind of came from, hanging out in the dorms, playing video games and talking about, random stuff that we thought was interesting. And so we thought it would be fun to put that, like, kind of broadcast it out there because we were already talking about it. So for me, a lot of it is either, going to one of the dining halls to eat or just hanging out in my dorm with my friends, that kind of stuff. So just chilling really for me.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say when I have downtime, I like to either eat and hang out with friends or sleep, honestly. So for me, Donovan's has been a really nice place for me to get together with my friends. They have amazing chicken sandwiches. So, yes. definitely try the chicken sandwiches.
They have good fries too.
My personal Donnie's favorite is their mini cheese sticks, mozzarella sticks. Greatest things ever. But I think that oh my gosh, I just blanked. Things I do.
Things you do. Yes.
Okay, so I do TikTok a lot. I think it's a really good way to do something like mindless and just have fun with it. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's not. It's funny. I do the dances. But I think I spend most of my time when we're not at practice or playing or whatever at other teams' games. I think I'm always at another team game. So that's what I do.
We love seeing it's the other student athletes at each other's games. It's one of the really cool parts, I think, of Colgate is how well our student athletes support each other. So Mo, thanks for leading the charge on that one. Juliana, you got another one?
I do. So thinking about, well, you guys have been talking about food a bunch, and this is a question actually that's on there, but what is your favorite place to eat on campus? But I'll extend that to the village.
Ooh.
So for me on campus, it's definitely Frank Dining Hall, just because there's so many different options for me. And I like eating pretty healthy. So when I go to Frank, I can find any kind of healthy options I want. And obviously I also like the Coop and those other spots, but I think Frank in terms of variety is my favorite. And then downtown for me, it's definitely the Eatery. I just think their sandwiches are second to none. And it's just a cool place to hang out and get a quick sandwich. So.
The Hill, I'd say probably the Coop. I'm opposite from Tucker just in the case that I lived in Gatehouse, so Frank was kind of far from me. Not actually, nothing's really far on Colgate's campus, but I was too lazy to walk to Frank, so I just always get to the Coop. And then down the hill, I would probably say Clubhouse. So yeah,
really good.
Up the hill, I think I'm gonna have to disagree with both of them and go with the Lib Cafe, just because of the turkey avocado sandwiches. Strictly, like the greatest things ever. But in the village, I think that the hands down probably favorite meal to eat at the village would be a breakfast burrito from the Eatery or their buffalo chicken mac and cheese.
Oh man, y'all are making me hungry. It's so good.
Okay, then I'll switch off of the food and maybe get into a little bit more of the details. So thinking about your day while you're in season, so these are for the 3 student athletes, what is an average day for you all when you're in season? And I will add on to that and say, how do you juggle being an athlete while attending Colgate?
I can start. In season, I think it's almost a little bit easier than out of season, because when you're in the fall for us, we have lifts at 6 a.m. and then conditioning at 7 a.m. the next day. So it kind of is fun. But in season, we'll probably have if it's a Wednesday, we'll have 6:30 a.m. practice, and then we won't have anything for the rest of the day. Or if it's a Tuesday or Thursday, we'll have lift in the morning, and then we'll have individuals later on that day. So it just kind of, that's our normal week. And then we normally have off Mondays. So you have one off day a week too. Or 2 off days, one off day. And travel days are completely different. Travel days are I think they're the best days. I think they're fun. That you take the bus and you go somewhere. It's just the anticipation. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, I would say I usually have my classes in the morning. I try and schedule it so my classes are in the morning, but sometimes we have lift. So we might have a lift in the morning, a maintenance lift during season. And then after I get through my classes, I'll usually try and find a time to get an individual workout in or an individual film session in with one of our coaches. Just somehow get down to the gym before practice. And then obviously we'll have practice. We usually have practice around 4:30 right after classes finish up. And then obviously finding times to eat in there is somewhat difficult, but it's all about planning your day out. And then after practice is over, that's usually when I'll get my studying in or homework or, preparation for the next day of whatever I need to do. And then hopefully I have some extra time to hang out with my friends or do some of those other things that we've been talking about.
Yeah, like Tucker said, I'll try to schedule most of my classes before 4. As a science major, that's not very difficult. Most of the classes are morning classes anyways. And then I'll have practice either 4 or 6 for 2 hours. And then I'll do treatment afterwards for about 30 minutes and then head back up the hill to do some homework and eat dinner.
Very good.
Do you all ever find a conflict in your schedule where you have competing priorities, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I could start. So, I mean, the main conflicting scheduling thing would be just when we have games, so mostly away games. If we do have to travel to an away game, that usually means that we're going to miss classes for that day. So we'll leave right after classes the day before, and then we'll miss classes the next day because we're traveling obviously away. So to deal with that, it's really important to get in touch with the professors. Our coaches always say that we should get in touch with professors at the beginning of the semester, so you know exactly when your game days are, and you should give them those dates so that they know when you'll be missing. And usually Colgate professors are pretty okay with that, and they understand how hard it is to be a student athlete. So they usually understand that as long as you give them time in advance. So in terms of game days, I think that's kind of how I deal with those.
Yeah, also, outside of class, sometimes there will be like events or things that you have to go to, such as maybe like a outside of the class lecture, and that might conflict with practice or even a game. If it conflicts with a game, then obviously, like Tucker said, you just let your professor know, and then they're usually pretty accommodating and understanding. If it is an out of the class lecture and it just conflicts with practice, then usually you can talk through it with your coach and potentially just make up for that time in practice that you miss. But usually you can just email your professors, talk to your coaches, and then work something out.
Great.
Yeah, other than those guys, I mean, we usually have stuff in the morning, so our classes they don't typically get conflicted. But I think the most conflicting thing for me would be like social time and homework time. I think that that's really, really hard to like sometimes. Sorry, there's a bug in my room. I think that sometimes it's really hard. Like those two times conflict all the time, and sometimes you just really have to sit down and you're like, this is homework time. Like I have to do this in order to be successful. So I think that that's something that it comes with like time management and stuff like that.
Oh, that's great. I have a quick question. How are you all managing in this time, this COVID-19 period of time? And sort of what advice would you have for these student athletes who also are dealing with it, depending upon where they are in different ways?
I'd say, like as a student athlete, we're used to going 100% all the time, and when anything gets in our way, we're like, oh my gosh, what do we do now? And with these times, it's extremely tricky because you are trying to balance, like, can I go to the field? Probably not, depending on where you are. Can I go to the gym? No. So it's difficult, but manageable. You know, like just take it day at a time. What you can do and what you can manage to do that, and focus on just doing that. Don't focus on the things that you can't control because they're uncontrollable. So just focus on what you can control and go from there.
Good advice.
Yeah, my main thing during this time has just been trying to stay productive. And that doesn't just mean athletically, because I think I hold myself to a pretty high standard athletically. So I knew that going into this, I would, make time for workouts, and obviously gyms aren't open right now, but try and find times to go to the park and those kind of things. But trying to do stuff outside of those things is also important to me. Just trying to figure out how to stay productive, like doing reading, writing, just working on myself basically, instead of just wasting time like watching Netflix. Obviously it's good to have time to do that, but at the same time, and even just like connecting with people and trying to connect with my teammates, those kind of things are really important right now with all this free time basically.
Mm-hmm. Great. Good thoughts.
Yeah, I would say exactly what Tucker said. I think that one thing is the super important thing is that I have been making sure that like every single day I take 10 minutes out of my day to like FaceTime a teammate or FaceTime a friend. Like I have really been stressing. I'm a very social person, and this whole quarantine thing, being stuck in my house with my sister, is driving me up a wall. So I think that finding 10 minutes out of your day to like be with your friends is definitely something that I've been stressing.
That's great. Any closing comments from our student athletes, or any last questions from our incoming student athletes? And closing thoughts, parting words. Morgan, I see you're on.
I was going to say I could add something, just a little advice. I think that what we talked about in preparation for this meeting is I think that something that all three of us definitely stressed was working on our mental health. When you come to Colgate, you're definitely going to be knocked down a couple pegs, right? You're going to be put in a situation where everyone else is just as good as you. and you're going to feel like you have to try extra hard to like prove yourself and stuff like that. But I think working on your confidence and definitely knowing that you deserve to be here, like you've been recruited to play here, like you deserve to be here. I think if you could spend this time maybe working on your mental health and just like your self-confidence will definitely help out.
Those are very, go ahead, Tucker.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to add. So probably one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give, and something that I still struggle with and need to get better at, is just building connections from this time. You know, your peers at Colgate are going to be really successful people one day, so it's important to start building those connections immediately, not just with your teammates, but outside of sports too. Just trying to build that network of connections with professors, with your peers, with alumni. All those things are so important during this time, because if you go these 4 years without doing that, you're going to really feel like you missed an opportunity. And that's something that I got to keeping in mind with myself too.
Good advice.
Also, one last thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just going off of what Tucker said, like your experience at Colgate is what you make of it. So get involved where you can, get to know people.
That's great. Yeah, and I'm so glad that you all will be here for a couple more years with these incoming student athletes. And so you all will have an opportunity to get to know these people behind the faces, behind the boxes, hopefully sooner than later. And I just want to encourage you to prepare yourselves to do that. Prepare yourselves to get a little bit uncomfortable, even start practicing this summer when you have the opportunity. We can't wait here on campus. We can't to watch you play and practice and get better in the classroom, on the fields, and the courts, and the pool, etc. And so if there's any questions that you might have between now and then, and we'll probably try to schedule another one of these sometime in the month of July, so that we can and maybe focus a little bit more then on things that you might need to take care of academically or relative to compliance or pre-participation in physical exams. Those sorts of things. So just be looking on the lookout from communication from us, and we'll try to do our best to communicate with you in the most timely manner possible. If you do have any other questions that come up, feel free to shoot me an email, and that email address is simply colgatead@colgate.edu. So we are so glad you joined us today. And again, look forward to seeing you the next time, and hope you have a really great month of June coming up. Thanks again so much to everybody. We'll see you later.